Welcome, welcome, welcome to New York's Divine Channel. You can have it all, where we are going to be covering a self-care extravaganza today. And when I talk about self-care, I mean the things that people don't really think about as being self-care. There are some things that I believe are more like secrets to the self-care routine that we should be having daily, weekly, monthly, and annually. And I'm going to be sharing those with you today. So let's get started right away in what I call the secrets to self care, or the secret self care routines that make a humongous difference in our life, change our life tremendously. And most people do not even have them on their self care list. I did not have them on my self care list years ago. It was probably about a decade ago that I started learning about them and started integrating them into my self care. And they made more difference than a lot of the other things that we typically have on our self care list. So, first, let's go over what most people would consider your typical self care. Okay. And then we're going to dive into the secret ones that I think people don't even consider self care or have on their list. First is really getting enough sleep, really eating the healthy foods. That's self care, right? And also really being able to get your movement in, your exercising. And a lot of us love going to the spa for self care. And these are all amazing, super good things that we're talking about. And they are a given, getting our hair done, having a massage or a facial or a manicure or a pedicure, the things that we like doing that make us feel really good, and pampering, like the pampering time. Also being able to give yourself sleep in time to be able to sleep in, get extra sleep when you need it, and not beat yourself up for it, and not say, oh, you shouldn't be sleeping right now, you're being lazy, or you're giving up on yourself, when you really do need it and you do. These are all really good self-care. Now, some of the other things that I know are a deeper sense of self care are taking ourselves to the doctor, like going to the dentist. I have met so many people in the holistic healing world, believe it or not, and they don't take themselves to the dentist. I know that sometimes our insurance doesn't cover it, or uh, we have to buy like a separate insurance for it. And also the time it takes to book the appointments, chase the dentist down that accepts our insurance if they do, then get the paperwork filled out, go to the appointment, take the time there, wait in the waiting room. And for some people, they just skip it because it's too much. And then pretty soon our teeth start falling apart or cracking or breaking or whatnot. And I know some people do and some people don't at that point. I have talked to people who have, several broken teeth. And I was one of those people at one time where I had a broken tooth for about a year before I let myself go and do self care, because I was in that hard space in my life where I was beating myself up for not being where I thought I should be at that stage in my life for a number of different things. And finally, we just have to give in and say, it is okay. It is okay to fail at some things, or to be delayed, and to just not be on time, because it really isn't a failure. It's just a delay in the timing of what you thought it was going to be. But remember, everything's always in divine timing. It's always in divine order. So it's not for us to, beat ourselves up when we're on our journey of learning and becoming the very best that we can become, right? Now, some of the other things that I know that we say, okay, I'm not going to do this, is, we really would prefer to go get our hair professionally done, but we, do it at home ourselves. And sometimes budgetary reasons, that is what we have to be able to do. And I know during COVID, wow, I mean, we all had to learn how to be our own hairdressers because they were all shut down for a while. So I'm not saying that you have to go get your hair professionally done. You don't. But if you really enjoy it and you really like it, see if you can prioritize it, even if it's just going to be a few times a year or even once a year. See if you can say to yourself, you know what? I know that um, it is taking away from something else, maybe time, energy, or money to be able to go do it. But I'm going to schedule it in 3 months for now, maybe. So different things like that. And it could be that you want to go get a colonoscopy, or you want to go get one of these different treatments that help us for preventative care, whatever it is. Also follow your heart and really check in and see, is this something that I need to do? Is this something, am I preventing myself from doing it? Do I have myself on a jail sentence? Am I have I locked myself up and thrown the key out because I made some mistakes and now I'm just putting myself on timeout? Or am I letting myself enjoy self-care? And am I loving myself enough? Because it's really about self-love. When we stop loving ourselves, we stop taking care of ourselves. So sometimes it's just letting yourself go get a few new bras and panties, because sometimes we hold back on that and we really know they're stretched out. And you know why a bra has so many hooks in the back of it? Like there's that row of 5 or 6 rows of hooks. It's because when we first get it, it's supposed to be able to go on the first row of hooks if we've measured ourselves properly and we've got the right size, right? And then after you've been wearing it for a while, bras do stretch. So then you go on the second row of hooks. And then, pretty soon that one's stretched out. So you go on the third. And by the time you get to the 5th row, you're supposed to throw it out and go get a new one. So these are little self-care tips that you have to tell yourself, you're worthy of this. You're deserving to have some new bras and panties. Okay. And they might be your holiday gift to yourself. Maybe you're going to say Merry Christmas to me and go ahead and get yourself a few new ones. So these are what I call basic essential self-cares that pretty much I think most people can agree upon. And I'm sure I missed a few. And when we get into the group discussion and free coaching, reading, and healing time at the halftime, then I would love to hear from you guys on what you include for your self-care daily. So for the extravaganza part, I want to talk about some that we don't always call self-care. Now here's number 1. It's a really big one, and it's called advocating for yourself and not just letting it slip by and have bad feelings about something and never really mention it or speak up for yourself. And that could be personally in your personal life. However, it could be in your professional life. Okay, so in your personal life, maybe a loved one has really, really hurt your feelings, and maybe it's happened even more than once. It's been kind of a pattern, and you've kind of just let it brush off. But it makes you feel bad inside. And it also makes you feel like, wow, I'm not even good enough to be talked to nicely. And it's about having the courage and the bravery and going and speaking to them and finding a gentle and kind manner to bring it up. And then potentially having to stick it out if it doesn't turn out to be a gentle conversation. I mean, sometimes you think you've got it all planned out and it's going to be this kind, loving conversation. And then you get there and you find out that it kind of turns into a screaming match and you're surprised, but we don't have control over how things go. Sometimes when we're communicating with somebody else, it's a dynamic, right? And how they respond then causes you to respond differently. And pretty soon you could be in something that you didn't expect. Well, that doesn't mean that it's a total failure. Sometimes that's the way that the conversation ultimately ended up having to go in order for it to be in divine timing and in divine order, and in order for it to be helpful. And at the end of the day, you might notice some great improvements in that relationship as a result, even though the conversation didn't go the way we hoped, right? We hoped for it to be a nice, lovely conversation, and it was a disaster. But not really, because later on you notice the other person trying and showing effort and going, I do know that you don't like it when I do or say blah blah blah. So what I'm hoping to accomplish, and you notice that they have mindfulness and thoughtfulness, and that the communication that you attempted to have of gentleness that didn't turn out so gentle still ultimately worked, right? And then in the professional world, a lot of people run around being afraid to be able to communicate in their career. Of course, for one of the biggest obvious reasons is, because your livelihood, your income relates to it, right? But pretty soon, if it's going on month after month after month, year after year after year, if it is a situation of where you're employed at a company, you have to go and talk to them. I mean, it should be happen. You should be talking to them well before it's month after month after month. Basically, the general rule is if it happens 3 times, then that's considered a pattern. One time could be just a fluke, right? Okay, bad day, something weird happened. It's a fluke. If it happens a second time, it's beginning to become a pattern. Now you're seeing it. Now the red flag you had the first time becomes 2 red flags. And you're already now forming what you're going to say the next time. And it might not be immediately. Maybe you're going to respond in the moment, which I find it's better to respond in the moment if you can. It's when we're caught off guard and we didn't expect it that we usually have no idea what to say and we're kind of speechless, right? Some of us are good on our feet. But if you have already seen it twice, it's probably going to happen a third time, good chance of it. So you're already starting to form, how would I respond if this happens again? And this way you are mindfully prepared. So you might say, this has happened twice already. I know this is like the third time. I didn't say anything the first time because I really didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I knew it could just be a fluke or a bad day. I didn't say anything the second time because I really wanted to put some thought to it when I realized that this might happen again. And so I have put a little thought to it. And this isn't really the right way to communicate with each other. We have to come up with a way that is more kind and caring if we possibly can. Is there a way that, if you're upset with me, that you can come to me gently instead of how you did the other day? And instead of how you are doing it right now? Because I get it. You don't like something that's going on. I hear you. I acknowledge you. I recognize you. And let's work to correct this, but let's try to do it peacefully. And of course, that may or may not happen, but at least you've made the attempt. And in life, it's really about setting your intentions to do the best you possibly can, make a good attempt, and then possibly, if it doesn't go well, at least you know that you had your heart in the right place and you tried. And at the end of the day, often it works anyway. So sometimes things do get messy in order to be effective, even though we don't want it messy. We want everything clean and tidy and neat and organized. And that's how we feel safe. And that's how we feel happy. But sometimes things that have to be fixed don't always go that way. So then if you own your own business, okay, I know a lot of business owners that are afraid to say something to their employees or to their clients or to their colleagues or vendors or suppliers, because as a business owner, we have all different people that we interact with. We've got our team of people that are working for us, and they could be, yes, employees, but they may be independent contractors or business to business, other businesses, right? And so when you see something happening a second time that you really don't want to be a pattern in the way that you're working together, again, you're forming, how would I handle this if it happens a third time? And of course, as a business owner, there are laws that you have to follow. And you might want to brush up and check on what they are and what the laws are. And then form your way that you're going to handle it if it happens a third time. And again, it does depend on how big of a deal it is. And like, If it's like this humongous thing that cannot happen again, then it'll have to be addressed on the first time. Okay, so there are some things that we can't let go. It really depends on if it's a huge deal versus a medium deal versus a smaller deal. So that all has to be part of the assessment. But here's why it's considered self-care. Let me get to the bottom line here inside of our 30-minute window for the teaching time before we go into our next 30-minute window for discussion and conversation around the topic, as well as any free readings or healings or coaching that any of our audience guests and volunteers would like to participate in today. So the bottom line is, if you do not speak up for yourself, what happens is our subconscious mind, our unconscious mind become feeling abandoned, and your being starts feeling rejected and not loved or cared for or safe by you. You're not keeping yourself safe. You're not protecting yourself. It's almost like you need a security guard or a bodyguard just to speak up for you because you're not speaking up for yourself. And so it starts affecting us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I know a lot of people I work with in my private practice at Camille Conti Agency, and then also in my academy with all of our students. I know a lot of times people come with severe physical things going on. And I mean, like very big medical conditions that they are having very large, what I call big deal treatments. Okay. So there's the big medical stuff, and then there's minor or medium size. It's like intermediate. And then there's the minor, right? And you aren't going to believe this, but when you start speaking up for yourself and making choices and maybe having to walk away, when you decide to walk away, then your body heals up. And maybe it doesn't mean that you have to walk away. Some situations, it's that you have to just speak up and get some changes happening. And then you start feeling better and getting better. Okay. And for other people, it's that you have to walk away. So you would be talking with your inner guidance, your inner self, your higher self, and divine, and checking in and saying, what is it for me to do here? You know, we don't always want to take action right away when we're not sure what to do. So we want to pray on it, meditate on it, ask for guidance. And after something happens, let's say you then do activate it, you have the conversation, it doesn't go exactly the way you hoped for it. It turns out to be a screaming thing or whatever. And then you're like, wow, did I screw that all up? Are we worse than we were before? And you check in and you do some meditation time. And oftentimes you're going to find out, nope, it had to get messy like that. It's the only way for the wake up call to happen. And the wake up call had to happen in order for big changes to happen. Because sometimes big changes don't happen unless it's made to be a big deal. And as a result, you start noticing that you're feeling better too. It's like if you had some big growth. I mean, I've had growths before. I even had a growth. Some people have heard my story in my groin area, right along the side of my Brazilian bikini wax, right? And it was right when I was supposed to be breaking up with this person, well before I got married. And I was a single trying to date and find my spouse, my divine equal spouse. And it wasn't easy, the process I went through. And every part of me knew, you need to break up with this person. You can't do this. But then there was other parts of me that wanted to still be with this person. So I kind of overrode it and went against it. Well, my body took over and got sick. I was not feeling good all the time. And then I started getting a growth. So I said, okay, I'm meditating about this. I'm going to put my hand right on the growth and I'm going to ask it, what in the heck is going on? Are you mad at me because I'm still with this person? And if I break up, will this growth, will you heal up? You wouldn't believe it, but I felt the growth shrink in my hand right at that moment. It was the craziest thing ever. And I was like, wow, I'm onto something. So I said, all right, if I promise to break up and I schedule, I'm going to do it on Friday. Will you just clear out right now? I got a little bit smaller, but then I heard this message like, I don't believe you. You should have done this like 8 times ago, every time you were treated wrong. So I felt like, okay, if I do it though, it will, because it shrunk a little more, but not all the way down. It was like 50% now. And it was amazing. I'm like, oh my God, like our physical body really is attached to this stuff. This is the real self-care. I'm like, wow. So I followed through, broke up on Friday, and by Saturday it was gone. And I was absolutely flabbergasted. And I was like, is this a freak weird thing, or does this happen all the time and we don't even know it? Are we just ignoring our body, mind, and spirit that's trying to tell us what's right, what's wrong, what we should and shouldn't be doing? And if we did listen better, would we heal? Well, I began that journey about 10 years ago. The first time this happened, the story I'm telling you, was in 2015. So over 10 years, I began the journey of really getting good at this. And it's true. It is completely related. Our body's physical, mental, and emotional state is directly related to the choices that we're making in life, like either who we're with, who we're not with, the career that we have, the job that we have, going against what we really don't want to be doing things we don't want to be doing in order to what we think is that that's our only option, because we're not thinking enough of ourselves. We're not thinking that we're worthy and deserving of more. And that if we really did step into that dream career of ours or that dream business of ours, that we could make it work. And instead we're playing small and we're just doing what we think, okay, this is safe. But in the meantime, our body, mind, and spirit is falling apart. Some of us, that's the reason why we have fibromyalgia, because we're always abandoning ourselves. We're never listening to ourselves. We're always just doing what we think is safe and trying to run away from any fear of taking a chance and taking a leap of faith and taking a calculated risk. So I'm going to tell you the self-care that I call a secret is to really get in tune with yourself and with divine, and really listen to the divine guidance in your life and the inner guidance from your body, mind, and spirit, and make the changes and speak up for yourself. And do mindfully prepare for it first if you can, because if you see it happen once, you're already starting to think, if this happens again, what am I going to do? And if it happens a second time, you're like, okay, I know that it's a good chance it's going to happen a third time. So now I definitely got to prepare. I got to be ready, because likely it's going to. And this time I'm not going to just respond with nothing. I'm going to know what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say, and how I'm going to react. Well, it's not only that, but I might have to make some big decisions. I mean, I have literally worked with people where they're on my massage table in my non-surgery wellness center in Rochester, New York, and we're working on why they just got done having a hysterectomy at a very, very young age, where all the body parts in their reproductive area ended up showing that they had the big C word, and pending death coming, right? So they do an emergency surgery, get everything cut out of there, and then they show up in my office at my wellness center, and we go in and we do a psychic medium reading, because I am a critical care psychic. And with the critical care psychic, I'm able to scan the body and be able to see, divine is able to show me what is exactly is going on and why it's happening. So over the decade, that is what has happened through me, through this deep search for understanding of how the body, mind, and spirit works, and being very open-minded. So now I literally, like as if you're looking at an x-ray, can see exactly what's going on. And then we can go in there and work on it and do 3 parts therapy and get answers as to what happened. And usually when it's such a huge deal, like this monster surgery that happens with a near-death experience of, if this doesn't get solved quick, you're not going to make it. It's because it's been years and years and years of ignoring your messages coming in from your inner guidance, from your soul, and from divine. And your body takes over and says, okay, you're not listening to me on an emotional or mental level. So now I have to physically act up to get your attention, because I'll wake you up. Now I'm going to grow a tumor, or now I'm going to grow the C word. Okay, that's what's going on. So the first thing you want to do is go, what the F am I missing? I need to go find out right away so that I can solve it, right? And so if we want to be in a preventative situation instead of playing defense, we want to play offense. We want to check in the beginning of something small happening where we're just not feeling good a lot, or something is hurting or whatnot. And we want to find out, what am I not doing that I should be doing? What should I be doing? What am I not knowing? What don't I understand that I need to understand? What decisions do I need to make? What do I have to shift? Now, the thing is, if the wake up call that our body physically ends up, so the physical always happens as a last ditch effort, just so you know. So if you have physical things happening, it's because all the other stuff, the mental and emotional and the spiritual stuff, wasn't waking you up. So finally, the big knock on the head is when you feel like shit and you end up having to get serious medical care and surgeries and things like that. Okay. So remember, now it's been going on a long time and you haven't been listening for a long time when it becomes physical. So if you want to be preventative, what you're going to do is start listening to the soft whispers, because the information comes in soft usually in the beginning. And then if we're ignoring it, then it starts getting louder over time because it's going on longer and longer. So I want to give you the self-care homework of your lifetime. And this is your extravaganza. Your self-care extravaganza is to be listening to your inner guidance and to your divine guidance daily on a regular basis. And sometimes we don't have enough time to, right? We're so busy. We have a million things going on. So take time to get quiet each day, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes. And then if something is going on in your life, then give it more time. Give it 15 or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Schedule time in your day planner, even if it has to be on the weekend or on a day that you have no work or a half day off of work or whatnot, and put it as an appointment in your calendar. And, write the time down, 3 p.m., self-care appointment to check in with inner guidance and with divine guidance to find out what WTF is going on. Write something in there into your day planner so that you take it seriously, and then don't skip it. Don't skip that appointment with yourself. When you keep the appointment with yourself, now you're exercising extreme self-care. Now you got it. Now you're doing the self-care extravaganza that I was talking about when I titled this show Self-Care Extravaganza. And if you feel like you need accountability partner or partners, if you feel like you need a team of soul sisters, a tribe around you helping you to get there and to be on a regular basis taking good care of yourself, then join us at our Club AIG. Club AIG is a 5 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday and Friday, spiritual exercise session. And it's body, mind, and spirit. So we physically work out, mentally work out, emotionally work out, and spiritually work out. We do prayer, meditation, self-hypnosis. We do intuitive yoga, psychic yoga, intuitive stretching. We do ecstatic dancing, neuro rocking, all kinds of cool stuff, all in 1 hour before we go for the day and start our day. And it gives you tons of exercise. We've got an incredible program. We are loving it. We've got new members joining. 2 new members just signed up over the weekend and are starting in January. So we're growing our Soul Sister tribe. So if you would like the information on that, send me over a text message to 716-603 1767. That's my direct cell phone. And I'll send you over the link and answer your questions for you. We can text if you would like. And if you're like 5 a.m., that is not my thing, then we have other programming and we can do a 15-minute free discovery call for the holiday. I don't normally do these anymore. Normally, you get on my website and you go to CamilleConti.com and then you hit the work with Camille section. You fill out the big questionnaire and it's $555 for 1 hour. And we're able to get you a map of a strategic plan of what we need to do for you in order to achieve what you're working on. And you have everything written down because I do the automatic writing for you. And we sometimes are able to fit in a treatment too in order to start clearing some things or upgrading for you. So for the holiday season, those of you who are watching today, if you would like to take advantage of a free complimentary 15-minute discovery call with me in order to find out how we can best support you on your beautiful journey, just go to either CamilleConti.com into the contact us section. And in there, you can put, it allows you to put a comment in there and it comes over to me. So you can go right in there, or it looks like people are already calling now. And you can also just text me at 716-603-1767, and we will get a 15-minute call set up for you so that we can figure out how to be the best for your accountability and grow and learn. We have courses. Unleash Your Fully Empowered Self and Happy Life is a super important course for that, because we do the deep trauma release work. We do the mother wound healing, the father wound healing, the rape wound healing, the ex-partner wound healing, the womb cleansing to clear out all the sexual energy from all past lovers or predators, and really be able to reset your whole mindset and healing for being able to open up to having a healthy and happy relationship. Even if you're currently married right now or in a relationship, it will really upgrade your relationship. So we have all kinds of cool tools. So contact me to get a hold of the best for you, and stay tuned for the interactive session where we're going to go off the recorded show and go into the private room where we can all talk and do some discussion and conversation around the self-care extravaganza information and any free readings or healings or coaching that come through today. So thank you for tuning in, and be back with us next year. The new schedule with the titles for the shows and the topics will be coming out soon. So we will send them to you via text and email and on social media, and keep watching for them as they're going to pop out soon in the next week or so.